Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video. And this is a paid request from Shawn. Thank you so much for that. For those interested in requesting any type of videos, re-reviews, commentaries, reactions, random thought streams, commentaries, tier list rankings, whatever the case may be, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal. Do have a CashApp as well. Links are down below in the info box, and I will get to it as soon as I possibly can. For those who sent them, thank you. I do appreciate it. So thank you, Shawn, for your kindness and your patience. Pause the beginning. 3, 2, 1, pressing play. Figure why not get started? Again, wanted me to do a commentary on Rocky, where we have the line, the roar of MGM, which MGM really isn't much of anything nowadays. And speaking of another company, is more gone, United Artists. Heaven's Gate definitely hurt that company a lot, pretty much killed that company. And here we have our title, Rocky. Now, Rocky is one of those films where, growing up, I saw the sequels first. I remember having a taped VHS of Rocky 2, 3, and 4. And Rocky 2, 3, and 4 I would watch over and over and over again. What's tonight? Don't watch, be Rocky night. Watch all 3 of them. Or it's Sunday or Saturday's Rocky Day. And it was years later that I would watch Rocky 1. And Rocky 1, I mean, it's a good movie. I like the 2, 3, and 4 more. Just 2, 3, and 4 are more gun-ho because of the, especially 3 and 4, the eras they were made in. This one, I don't want to say slow pace, it's more leisurely paced than those, but not in a bad way. It's a good story, good acting. Here we are, Rocky against Spider Rico. Which Spider Rico actually, I believe, makes an appearance in Rocky Balboa, eating at Rocky's establishment. And of course we have a very young Sylvester Stallone, who I think my username kind of tells you how I feel about him, but still, Sylvester Stallone is my favorite actor, my favorite action star. I love Arnold and Dolph Lundgren and Jean-Claude Van Damme and others, but Stallone was a guy I was drawn to the most. Because of Rambo, because of Rocky, I love Cobra, Over the Top, Tango and Cash, Demolition Man, Cliffhanger. Love those films tremendously. And Stallone, because growing up, I had a bit of a, well, in a way I still do, a speech impediment type of thing, where I'm sure, as you can clearly notice, I have this thing with my teeth. So because of my teeth, sometimes it's hard to pronounce certain words. And, they're just like people with him, half his face is paralyzed since birth. So imagine putting your face like this. Now hold it. Like the lip is down. That's the way he is. Because forceps during the birth severed some kind of muscle or something. So half this was paralyzed. So that's why his lip has that kind of droop. And a lot of people make fun of the way he talks. Same with me. Once in a while I'll still dare comment. Making fun of the way I talk and I say certain words. Because, getting this fixed costs a lot of money. And I don't like the idea of having them messed around and stuff. But this, I don't think there is a way to fix what Stallone's... I mean, I don't know if there's a way to go in and fix the thing. I don't know. Maybe not. I would assume if there was, he would have done it long ago. But I mean, he wanted to be an actor. And because of his physique, because of his dialect. He would just be cast as these mudders. It was the film where he chased after Woody Allen's character. Or he was the bad guy in Death Race 2000. Now, he was in The Lords of Flatbush, but that was a rare occasion where he became good friends with Henry Winkler, the Fonz himself. But he was a writer and he wrote the script. And he wanted to star in it. Now, a lot of people liked the script, but they wanted it as long as he didn't star in it. They wanted James Caan, they wanted Burt Reynolds, other big stars of that time. He said, no, I need to star in this, because I know if this film is a big hit and I didn't star in it, it'd be like the big regret of my life. I think at one point, Henry Winkler helped him, and it got to like it was going to be a made-for-TV movie for ABC, and then Stallone's like, no, please, like, get that back. And then Henry Winkler was able to get it back. And then eventually they got to these two guys, Irwin Winkler and what was the other guy's name? Zarkov? Anyway, they got to those two guys, the guys that accepted the Best Picture Oscar. And they said, okay, well, we'll make this happen. Of course, here we got Frank Stallone, his brother, doing a bit of singing. Do-do-do-do, take it back, do-do-do-do. Frank Stallone, who at one point tried to be a bit of a movie star himself, but not nearly as successful. And the songs I remember him was Peace in Our Life at the end of Rambo 2. Nowadays just known as, hey, it's Sly's brother. Yeah, written by Sylvester Stallone. Now, there you go, Irwin Winkler and Robert Chartoff, not Zarkov, Chartoff. There you go. Those are the two guys who Stallone went to. And those are the two guys that accepted the Best Picture Oscar. And then they said, yeah, make it happen. So then they got Carl Weathers. I think at first it was going to be a boxer. Was it Ken Norton? Things didn't work out, so they got Carl Weathers. Then for Adrian, I think Terry Snodgrass, I think that was her name. She was going to do it. It didn't work out. Then people, I think like Cher and stuff were up for it. Didn't work out, so they got Talia Shire. Then of course you got Burt Young, Burgess Meredith, etc. And cast worked out well for them. Great cast. And when this film came out, it was a huge hit. I mean, you had, I think it was the most successful film of 1976. Multiple nominations for Oscars of Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor, Supporting Actor for Burt Young and Burgess Meredith. Best Actress, Talia Shire. Best Screenplay, Best Editing. It won Best Director, John G. Avildsen, Best Editor, or Editing, and Best Picture. It did win Best Picture. Which I know people say, oh man, it should have been this or that. But no, Rocky deserved it. I guarantee you, if you look at all those films of that year, the film people remember the most is Rocky. It's literally like one of the seminal classics. Sin is young. And I mean, Stallone put a lot of himself into this. Because you have a guy who's an underdog, 1,000,000 to 1 shot, just like he was as an actor. No one believed in him. No one says he could go the distance. No one says he could make it. No one says he could be successful. You're told no, no, no. There's even the story that at one point he had to sell his dog. I think he did eventually get his dog back, but he had to do stuff in his car. Like I don't know, quite living out of his car, but close to it at least. And then whatever work he did that, what was it, the Italian Stallion, which it was party at Titty and Studs. It was pretty much a porno. But when this film was coming out and became successful, then they took whoever owned that porno, took that, renamed it the Italian Stallion, and released it. And Stallone couldn't do anything to stop it, so it got released as the Italian Stallion. Barati is such a likable, lovable character because he has what people seem like the mean mug and he botches and stuff, but he's such a kind demeanor. He's good to the little puppies. Here's the very shy, introverted shopkeeper at the pet store, and it's it to me is one of the great love stories in film history. Is Rocky and Adrian. And then you would see in the sequels how Talia Shire's character would be different, where she was no longer shy, she was no longer, she was able to hold herself up on her own 2 feet, be a bit more assertive, take the glasses off. Now, granted, in Rocky 3 and 4, like she didn't have as much to do. I mean, she still has stuff to do in Rocky 3. For the first time in my life I'm afraid. Nothing wrong with being afraid. Rocky 4, she didn't have a whole lot to do, but it was still nice to see her in there. Rocky 5, they try to be a bit more dramatic at the end. Didn't work out 100%. And I'm still iffy on them killing Adrian and Rocky Balboa. I'm still iffy on that. It works very well dramatically and emotionally. But I don't know, there's that part of me that just... I don't know. I really, really like Rocky Balboa, but there's that part of me that wishes they would just ended it at Rocky 4, and that's it. So I go back and forth. I mean, I love Rocky Balboa, but just the choices, yeah. Anyway. And that's the thing, like, when you look at the later Rocky sequels, they forget that this is the job Rocky did to break people's thumbs, get money for people, and now I know in the original script it was a much darker script. Like Burgess Meredith's character was more racist. The ending was more... I'm trying to remember. I know one part of the ending was that it was going to be after they hugged, then things kind of settled down, and then it's just the two of them. They kind of walk by themselves off to the distance. I know there was something else. I don't know. I mean, there's plenty of documentaries and material about the first Rocky that you can find the info out. But yeah, I think back to the day, I mean, this is pretty much all you had to do. Meaning, think about today. Here I am in front of a computer that, as long as you have working, decent internet. Actually, before I get into that, here we have Maniac himself, Joe. Star of Maniac, 1980. Which I always forget that he's in this movie. He's in a bit in Rocky 2. Actually, let me double check real quick. I want to see. I want to make sure. I'm sorry. I just need to make sure something real quick. Yeah, Joe Spinell was in Rocky 2. Okay. But not in Rocky 3, right? No. Yeah, Rocky 2 is the last one he was in. And he seemed like he was friendly with Stallone. Because I think there was another film of Stallone's he was in as well. But I don't know what the deal was, but something happened between the two of them. Because I remember, I cannot find the picture, but I remember there was a picture where Stallone wearing a T-shirt with Maniac, the poster on it. It was like a festival, con film. It was some kind of festival, and Stallone was wearing a T-shirt with Maniac on there. I could never find that fucking picture though. I know I've seen it though. I'm not making it up, but I know I've seen it. But I can't fucking find it again. But yeah, how about break your thumbs? See, now I gotta look right as I'm doing this, just. I mean, maybe I'm getting confused. Maybe he was next to Joe Spinell, who was wearing a Maniac T-shirt. Maybe that's what I'm getting confused by. Maybe. Because I see here, there is a picture with Stallone. He's next to Joe Spinell, who's wearing a Maniac T-shirt. Yeah, that must be it. So, I don't know. I guess I blended the two. But yeah, Stallone is with Joe Spinell, who's with a Maniac T-shirt. So that's what it is. And it was at the Cannes Film Festival. Okay. I don't know why I just, for some reason, blended the two. To be fair, that was a picture I saw, I don't know, 10 years ago, so sorry. But, yeah. Yeah, I don't know what happened between the two of them. Oh, this is where he finds out he's been pretty much kicked out. It's a 2-bit loan shark. It's a living. Yeah, stuff's been taken out and thrown out. Right there in the sack. Because he thinks you're a sack of shit. But yeah, growing up as a kid, I mean, Rocky and Rambo were my introductions to Stallone. Rambo, the first three Rambo films, and Rocky 2, 3, and 4, those were my introductions. And I watched those two franchises, those films I mentioned, over and over and over again. And then Cobra and Over the Top and Tango and Cash as well as a kid. Could not get enough of them. And Stallone, like so many people have said Stallone's not a good actor. Highly disagree. Which is ironic. Even Quentin Tarantino believes that. And you know how honest he is about actors. With all the stuff he got with Paul Dano and all this stuff. Wait, I think back there with boxing, that's Stan Shaw. With the boxing gloves. Which actually they were worked together on in Daylight. Many, many years later. Because Daylight, Stallone, of course, is the star. Stan Shaw is the security guard who's got the wife. Or is it fiance? Might have been fiance. Anyway, he gets trapped by the rubble and they gotta try to lift him out before he drowns. I forgot he was in this, so that's interesting. Yeah, two guys, and 20 years later they'd be in another film together, because Daylight, I think, was 96 and this was 76, so interesting enough. Of course, we have Burgess Meredith as Mickey. Burgess Meredith is just classic. I know he was in the Twilight Zone episode, and I mean, he'd been in other films, but the only time I ever think of Burgess Meredith is as Mickey. And he made it, good enough career being in the first three. And of course, in Rocky 5, that's one of the positives, is it was cool to see him again in the flashbacks. But I'm glad they didn't go with the route that he was a racist. I mean, maybe like in the first draft, he wanted to be like this dark, gritty, Maybe he thought it was more realistic. I don't know, but instead it's real, but in a way to look at it as like a fable. But at the same time, more real compared to the sequels. But yeah, Stallone. Well, let me get back to my first point before I'm like, oh, Joe Spinell. I was seeing like what these people do in their everyday lives. Yeah, think about it. I'm in front of this computer. With this computer, if you have a decent enough internet, you could pretty much do anything you want. Meaning, I could watch almost any movie, play almost any video game, listen to almost any song, watch 100 videos and still have a million that I could go watch. Not just YouTube videos, but all sorts of stuff. You're into music, you're into news, you're into stories about whatever subject material, countless reading material for you to delve into, books you can find. Same with on your phone. Back then, you had none of that. You sat at your home, you had your TV had a couple channels. Maybe go to a movie, go to the bar, play a sport, or go outside and find something to play or do. We had to go out and be social. And some people go to bars, some people go to sport events, ice skating, whatever the case may be. Very different animal, very different ball game for back in the day. We definitely gained some stuff and lost some stuff with the advent of technology and internet and social media. We gained something, we lost something. Up to you whether did we give away too much or not. Of course, here we have Burt Young, which definitely more of a bad guy in this movie compared with the sequels, where he's definitely more of a flawed character, very hostile with his sister Adrian, berating them, calling her stupid all the time. And they definitely softened that character when he got into the sequels. He had hints of that at the beginning of Rocky 3 when he's getting drunk. And, can I do the job? All you had to do was ask. Even a bit of Rocky 2, where Burt Young and Adrian's character are yelling at each other before she has the problems with the pregnancy and goes to the coma. Because before that, the two of them were arguing. Rocky 4, he definitely the softened up a bit by then. Again, there's remnants of that, but it's not as much as the first one. That's why I always liked that scene in Rocky Balboa where I try to remember if they cut it out. I remember seeing it, and I'm trying to remember if it was in the movie or if I saw like a deleted scene of it now. Can't remember. But there's a scene where Buryan breaks down and says pretty much how he wished he would have treated her better. Very effective scene. If it was in the cut, it should have been. If it was, then there you go. But yeah, Sylvester Stallone I always thought was a great actor. I mean, very different types of roles. I mean, Rocky is very different from John Rambo. Both are very different from Freddy and Copland. Those are all different from, let's say, even John Spartan in Demolition Man. Or Tango and Cash. Like Ray Tango is not the same performance as John Rambo, and those are not the same performances as Rocky Balboa, and none of those are the same performances as Freddie Heflin. I think, I'm trying to remember, is this the girl that related to being Rocky Balboa, the character? God. I say it because I haven't seen Rocky Balboa in a while, so I'm trying to remember the details of that. It has been a minute before. I mean, I love the film, but I mean, there's so many films and all sorts of stuff. It's hard to watch them in a rotation. But yeah, after Rocky, he tried to. Critics would say he's like the new Marlon Brando. He's the new this and that. And then you have this huge success, won Best Picture, nominated for an Oscar. Okay, he's going to have a bit more control to do what he wants to do, and he wants to be taken as a serious actor. So he does Paradise Alley. He does the film Fist about the unions. They don't go out. They don't do well. And to be honest, those are not my favorite films of his. I'm very lukewarm on both of them. And a lot of people were... I mean, nowadays there are people that warm up to them. But, at the time, people didn't care. Then eventually you had Rocky 2. And as much as I like Rocky, I think Rocky 2 I like even more. I like how it starts right after the first one. I love him trying to live a different life, but he can't do commercials. Beast Aftershave, that's a very memorable part. Trying to get back in the ring again. The rematch. I would say the fight at the end I like even more than... The fight at the end of this is good, but I like the fight at the second one even more. I think Stallone did a good job directing it. And that was another big hit. But then he would try to do other films. Nighthawks is pretty good, but that didn't do well. Or it didn't do great. And throughout the 80s, it's like he had finally another hit that wasn't Rocky, and that was First Blood. And then when he would try to do something different, Rhinestone wasn't that great. But Rocky 3, big hit. 85 was like his biggest year because he had Rocky 4, Rambo 2, and those were like two of the biggest hits of the year. 86 he had Cobra, That did well in foreign markets, but in the U.S. it underperformed. Yeah, I think your film's made like 150 million in the U.S., and then your next film makes like 49 million in the U.S. And they had a lot of promotion. Like they expected a lot more, so that was. And it's sad because I love Cobra, but that underperformed. Sally won't get the 2 hour version. There was no sequels. He did Over the Top. That didn't do well. That was a flop. Rambo 3 underperformed, which I still understand. I don't understand why people hate that film. I love Tango and Cash. That underperformed. Lock Up flopped. I think that's an underrated one. He tried to go back with Rocky 5. That was a miscalculation, and that didn't do well. I like Oscar. That was a flop. Stop When My Mom Will Shoot was not the best decision to make, but I don't hate that film like other people do. But that film was not going to be a hit, and it wasn't. And then it wasn't until Cliffhanger. Cliffhanger did well. Demolition Man did well enough. Specialist even did okay. Then you had Judge Dredd, and you had Daylight didn't do well. Copland is a great movie, and even that didn't do well. Driven was a flop. Hell, one of the only hits he had during that time was Spy Kids 3D. And he was doing more direct-to-video, like Avenging Angelo and I See You, which I love. Detox, I love that film, but that didn't. The studio had no hope for that, and they just dumped it. But and then that's when he had Rocky Balboa, and that was a good movie. Rambo 4, that was a good movie. The Expendables, that was good. And then again, went down again. Expendables sequels, not so good. Bullet to the Head, really lame. State Plan, very lame. And now it's either he does these terrible direct-to-video films like Alarum and what was the other one called? Armor, Bat Trace, I think that's what it was called, that are just a waste of his time and talent. He was the voice of King Shark. That was pretty cool. Fun movie. The second Suicide Squad film. And then, what was it? Tulsa King, of course. Take her to the zoo. Of course, I bypassed Carl Weathers, but I don't mean to. But yeah, oh, there you go. Carl Weathers as Apollo Creed. I'm trying to find a new substitute. And you got Tony Burton there. And it's sad, both of them have passed away. Rest in peace to both these guys. The guy in the bat, Tony Burton, would come back for the sequels. And had more to do in Rocky 4. And was also pretty prominent in Rocky Balboa. Let's start building some hurting bombs. And in Rocky 4, the Italian Stallion. Sounds like a damn monster movie. But yeah, Carl Weathers is another guy who was so underrated, deserved a lot more than he got. So talented. Sounds like a damn monster movie. Because that's another guy I would follow his career. I love. He was in Predator. I think also after this he was in Death Hunt with Charles Bronson, Lee Marvin. That was 80, 81 or so. Of course, he'd be in Rocky 2, Rocky 3. It was so cool that they worked together. Like, Apollo and Rocky were on the same side in Rocky 3. I thought that was a cool development of the story. I don't think you need to kill him off in Rocky 4. You could have just had where he got hurt really badly. But, it is what it is. Maybe some people felt it wouldn't have been strong enough. I said, well, we had Mickey die in Rocky 3 already. I think if he was subjected to a wheelchair, kind of like what the story was in Kickboxer, and then a guy trying to live, and then realizing there is life after this, and that could be a bit of hopeful bit of business, that there can be life after a terrible injury and among other stuff. But anyway, I love Rocky 4. It's my favorite Rocky film. But I was saying, with Carl Weathers, man, you had Predator, of course, Action Jackson, which is fun. Happy Gilmore, he's great in Happy Gilmore. He was good in The Mandalorian. That it was so much of a nice, pleasant surprise to see him on The Mandalorian. Nice, pleasant surprise. I thought that was really cool. And I thought he did a good job in that TV show. And again, it's just set in the 90s. The only ones I remember is he did, what was it? He did a couple films with Hulk Hogan. These made-for-cable films. I mean, it felt like Carl Weathers should have had the career that Wesley Snipes had. And Sally just didn't happen. I don't know. Never got why. Never understood why. Never understood it. But it is what it is. See, you see Paulie in this one, he's complete jackass. Yeah, I can imagine, like, if you watch just, like, the Rocky sequels, then you go back to watch this, you forget just how harsh he is. Notice that picture there shows that he was in the military of some sort. Which I don't think I ever noticed that picture until now. I just never really paid attention. Now, of course, you have the director John G. Avildsen, who did win an Oscar for this. And, of course, he would go on to direct The Karate Kid and those films. And then came back to Rocky for Rocky 5. He also did that Van Damme movie, Desert Heat. It was called a different title. What was it called? I forget what it was called. But I know that apparently John G. Avildsen and Van Damme, there was a bit of friction, and the cut that came out was not John G. Avildsen's cut, so he kind of dismissed the film like, this isn't mine. Apparently he had a cut of the film that was Inferno. I think it was Inferno. Very different type of cut, which has not seen the light of day. I mean, I'm not a fan of Desert Heat. I know some people like that film. I hate that film. I think that film's fucking boring. But teach their own. But there's another guy that sadly has passed away. That's a sad thing when you watch these movies, man. I mean, the director's passed away. Burr Young has passed away. Carl Weathers passed away. Tony Burns passed away. Joe Spinell has passed away. Stallone is getting up there. He's what, 80? 80 some? But that's just how it goes. That's how life, goes. I mean, I'm very critical of Stallone's recent years of choices for roles. Just because I know I'm selfish. I'm selfish in the fact of I know we don't have him here for that long. And like I would love to have seen him do a true horror movie, a creature feature film, to do a film like Isobar, which is a strip that was around for a while, and Hunter. Remember Hunter they wanted to do for the longest time, and I remember years ago people kept telling me, he's going to do Hunter. No, he's not. No, he's going to do Hunter. I'm like, no, he's not. And of course it didn't happen. And it's just a shame. Now, from what I understand here, this is supposed to be a fully open skating scene where there'd be a lot of people skating around. But they said, well, that's going to be pretty expensive because you got to pay everybody to be there. Make sure nobody in the back screws up. Feed them lunch. All sorts of stuff. But I actually think this works out better because it's more intimate. Just the two of them by themselves. Because can't dance. Hey, yo. I love the idea that he just walks with her. Because I can't see her dance. So again, it's one of those things that you don't making use with what you have, and then it becomes better. Well, again, like this here, it works so much better that they're alone. It just feels much more intimate together. Because your eyes would be focusing on people in the background, but now our eyes focus on these two and these two alone. Same with later on, when they have the banners for the boxing match. And Rocky's like, hey, wait a minute, they got the trunks wrong. Because I think originally his trunks were going to be one way. It was changed last minute, but it wasn't told to the art department. So they released the banner with the other one. So they just threw in the dialogue. Hey, wait a minute, that's not right. And then the guy goes, it doesn't really matter, does it? Which works out so well because, once again, it's the disrespect. He's a nobody. He's nothing. It doesn't matter. You're not going to be remembered after this day. You're just here for the show and the flash. It doesn't matter if we got your fucking attire right or wrong. So now the audience makes you feel even more for the guy. He's even more of an underdog. That stuff works well. That stuff helps. It really does help. In little details, him running while she's skating. The different dynamic between the two, but yet they work so well together. And Talia Shire, I don't want to go without mentioning her. She does a wonderful job as Adrian. Now, she'd be in another film. She was in... I always forget the name of that film. Prophecy, about the killer mutant bear. John Frankenheimer, I think, did it. where there's, because of environmental hazards and dumping of toxic material, and infected this bear, and it's killing people. But it's taken pretty seriously, and it's not as, quote, fun as you would think it would be. Armand Asante is in the film. I wish he was the lead, because the guy they have the lead is kind of bland. And then she was in Rad, another film I saw as a kid. Thunder in Your Heart. Well, actually, I got Rad right there. Actually, this film right here. Actually, funny enough. Oh, dude. This film here, she's in as the mom. Yeah. Bill Allen, Lori Loughlin, Talia Shire, Ray Walston, in a Hal Needham film. Break the ice. Which actually, there's another release of this film that actually has a documentary of the film. This doesn't have it, but again, there's another release that had the documentary of on there. So have to look into that one. Now, speaking of the other Rocky films, like Rocky, I mentioned Rocky 2, I really enjoy. Rocky 3 is my second favorite. I love Mr. T. Hey woman, hey woman. Just the stuff he says to rile Rocky up. And you bought his intensity. Prediction, pain. I love the bits between Rocky and Hulk Hogan, who's Thunder Lips. Played for fun, for humor. Paulie tries to help out and Hulk Hogan punches him. Another guy who's passed away, Hulk Hogan, But the I love the Apollo and Rocky working together. Of course, Eye of the Tiger you got in the soundtrack. And Rocky 4 is my favorite. Yes, it does seem like a fairly long music video montage, but I said this before, if you pick 5 films that represent the 80s, Rocky 4 would be one of them. The sound, the music, the style, the feel. Rocky 4 is an epitome of 80s movies in a good way. So, my favorite soundtrack of all time, favorite montage of training sequences of all time, great fights. Ivan Drago, great presence, played by Dolph Lundgren. Love Rocky 4. Rocky 5, I hated it as a kid. When I watched it years later, I think especially after Rocky Balboa, I was more tolerant of it. Because I think his son, Sage, rest in peace to him, he did a good job. I like the guy who plays the corrupt fight promoter, pretty much trying to be Don King. Touch me and I'll sue. Was it Richard Gant? Was that his name? He's the same guy that ate Jason's heart at the beginning of Jason Goes to Hell. I liked him. I liked the street fight at the end, but the way it opens, him losing all his money, having to go back to the neighborhood from this film, I just thought people didn't want to see that. It's like they're trying to overcorrect something that honestly people didn't need or feel like overcorrecting was desired. Tommy the Machine Gun, I don't mind him, but he's not as memorable as Apollo Creed, Clubber Lang, Ivan Drago. And the Raps soundtrack I wasn't big on. Much prefer either the Bill Conti music or the Vesticola music in Part 4, which was great. Great addition. But I mean, I like the Mickey flashback scenes. So there's stuff I like. But it would not have been the direction I went in. And then Rocky Balboa was a nice surprise. Saw that in the theater. Very good emotional sequences. Excellent acting by the cast, especially Stallone. Antonio Tarver was there. Because him and Tommy from Part 5, they're real boxers. They're not actors. I know they try to do it to be more realistic, but I hate the fact that Antonio Tarver's character breaks his hand. And they did that because, well, how do we make Rocky, who's older, go the distance with this guy? We gotta get his hand broken. I'm like, well, how many times does that happen in a boxing match? That someone's hand's been broken and they still continue the fight for that long. So I don't know, again, I'm conflicted with them killing off Adrian. I get why, but at the same time, I'm not sure. I just noticed there's a knife in the mattress. Yeah, I think there's a knife just thrust to the top of that mattress. I guess I didn't even notice that. Like fucking shit. I mean, I'm like, did someone try to stab him and it's stuck in the mattress, or he just stabbed it there just to keep the mattress upright or something? But yeah, Rocky Balboa, I do quite like the movie. And then after that, Creed 1, I'm not a fan of. Creed 2, I'm not a fan of. Creed 3, I could deal with because that one felt less like a Rocky film because you don't have Stallone. You don't have the connections to the Rocky films, really. You don't have Ivan Drago. They just threw in there for Creed 2. Because that was Drago's son. Why? Whatever. Let's make Ivan Drago less impressive by making him the sad sack who has a son. They forget what made Ivan Drago iconic. So let's take away from that. But here we have the sort of seduction, which I wonder if nowadays people get mad thinking that, I don't know, Rocky is too forceful or whatever. But you have this person who's been called ugly their whole life, has very low self-esteem. Her Paulie treats her like shit all the time. Oh, no one could like me in that way. No one could see me that way. And here's a guy who does. And it's hard for someone to believe that until the moment happens. And it just sad. I don't know why this popped up. It's just sad, like the films that didn't get made with Stallone. Like he was supposed to do a John Hughes comedy with John Candy, where him and John Candy were feuding neighbors. Bartholomew versus Death. I did Hunter, Isobar, which was Roland Emmerich was going to direct it, and it was a sci-fi big budget horror film on this train. This monster made by Rick Baker. It's like this plant-like monster that would suck the water out of people. And it's Rick Baker doing the effects. It would be practical. I think Tim Basinger would have been in it. James Belushi would have been in it. We missed out on shit. That pisses me off. Pisses me off. The bullshit. Yeah, I want to know. You want to know? Yeah, I want to know. You have the chance to be a good fighter. Some second-rate loan shark. It's a living. It's a waste of life. Unless you find out his deal is that you wasted potential. He's mad at the wasted potential. I also love this too because when he goes in, he thinks it's just a sparring thing. He doesn't think he's actually going to get a shot at the title. And he like continues like, oh, hey, no, I mean, I'm serious. I could be a good sparring partner. No, 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 you don't understand. We want you the chance at the title. And it's just how long it takes for him to believe it because that's just a fun, nice, real reaction. I mean, it's like hitting the lottery, and hard to believe you hitting the lottery. Sorry, just watching the scene as I don't know, you want to call him the promoter or whatever, is talking to Rocky. Pretty much telling him he's got that 1,000,000 to 1 shot. And another big important part of this movie is the score, the music by Bill Conti. Bill Conti did such a magnificent job on this. He did a good job in the Karate Kid films, but I mean, I like the music in those. But man, the Rocky films he really made it work. I also love his score for Lockup. His score for Lockup is really good and underrated. And that's the crazy thing is that when they had Vince DiCola in Rocky 4, the guy did a bang up job and became my favorite music score. Well, it's my favorite soundtrack because the songs. But I think the score is fantastic. I love the score in Rocky 4. I think Vince DiCola did a wonderful job. And I didn't give a shit about that director's cut of Rocky 4. Did not give a shit about that at all. Really did not. I mean, there's a one or two things I didn't mind they added, but the other stuff, and then they cut stuff too. There's like editing choices that I didn't understand why, and stuff they cut out that I don't think they needed, and I really would have no reason to watch the director's cut of Rocky 4 again. I mean, I didn't think Rocky 4 was that broken to fix. There's like, well, how come he can't do Rocky 5? Well, he wasn't the director of Rocky 5. Oh, I'm going to do Rocky 5. You didn't direct Rocky 5. John G. Avildsen did. So, like, what are you talking about? Here, and what kills me is like, why not take the time to do documentaries on the Rocky sequels? We still have yet to see a good making of Rocky 2, Rocky 3, Rocky 4. I didn't even see one on Rocky 5. And I mean, you could have done it years ago when we had Burt Young And we had Hulk Hogan to talk about Rocky 3, Carl Weathers to talk about, well, how did you feel when you got killed off in Rocky 4, like the script? And just, I mean, Carl Weathers talked about Predator in the little making of they had when the DVD came out, with Bill Dew talking about it, and I think Shane Black and other people. So now, I mean, Stallone and Talia Shire, I guess, to talk about it. Maybe Mr. T, although he really does interviews. But I don't know. So just watching these actors just do a really good job. I'm just seeing what's in the trivia here just in case. Rocky's character is a very kind of a. I mean, it's weird to say optimistic, but. I mean, a guy that doesn't think he'll win, he just hopes he'll go the distance. And he doesn't win, but he does go the distance. And that's the win for him. But the bigger part is the love story. That's why I think it was the perfect last shot. Is the two of them hugging. Where's your hat? That still gets me. Where's your hat? I love you. I love you. They're hugging the freeze frame because he went the distance, but that's what matters is the two of them. Stallone had $106 in the bank and no car, was trying to sell his dog because he couldn't afford to feed him, but he refused to sell his script unless they agreed to allow him to star in the film. And they had offered $350,000. He's like, no, I need to star in this. The stars the studios wanted were Robert Redford, Ryan O'Neal, Burt Reynolds, Nick Nolte, James Caan. Final cost was $1.1 million. After the end of filming, Stallone kept the two turtles, Cuff and Link. As of June 2019, he still had them alive and well. The same turtles are in Rocky Balboa. The dog Butkus in the movie was Stallone's real-life dog. Most of the scenes in Rocky Jodian was done guerrilla style with no permits. During the audition, Carl Weathers and Stallone. Carl Weathers accidentally punched Stallone. Stallone said, "Calm down." Carl Weathers said, "Well, if I auditioned with a real actor, not a stand in, he would be doing a lot better." The director said, well, he is the actor and the writer. Carl Weathers looked at him and said, well, maybe he'll get better. Stallone immediately offered him the role. The inspiration was the Chuck Wepner-Muhammad Ali fight in 1975. Wepner was considered a moderate talent, but no one expected him to last more than 3 rounds against Ali. The longer the fight went, the more surprised people were. He even managed to knock Ali down in the 9th round, although Ali always maintained that Wepner was standing on his foot when he fell. Ali pummeled Wepner mercilessly for the next 6 rounds, breaking his nose and opening large gashes above both his eyes. But Wepner kept moving forward and kept fighting. "40 years later, Wepner's story was adapted as Chuck in 2016. Okay, this is what I was thinking. In the original script, Rocky threw the fight after realizing he did not want to be part of the professional boxing world. At the end credits of the first 5 Rocky films, there's a dedication to Jane Oliver, who was Stallone's manager before he was famous. She died of cancer just before this film was released. That's too bad. That's the thing, the first film had a DVD that had features on it, but the sequels didn't. I don't know why. Don't get that. I'm laughing because I love he walks out, then oh shit, Mickey's still there, so he walks back in. I love this coming up. Oh, he's still here? I love that. That's hilarious. What about my time, Mick? I didn't have a prime. I love this speech, this rant he goes on. It's one of my favorite scenes. That's what it stinks! At least you had a prime. What about my prime, Mick? What, you think my place isn't good? I just love his ranty, man. sorry, such a great scene. So much emotion and just all this pent up anger. And then the. Wait a minute, wait a minute. Again, just all this pent up anger and. Oh, now you look at me, now you notice me, now you recognize me, now you're taking a chance on me. Why didn't you do it before? Why didn't you say this, believe in this a year or 2 years or 5 years before? Why now? Then it's like, okay, you know what? Okay, I can't miss this chance. I love the idea this is done in a wide shot too, so we don't hear what he said. We don't need to know. The fact he came out, the shake, this kind of, hey, I'm going to see you later. It tells us all the information we need. All the information we need is right there. Oh, this is, we don't have the eggs. Oh, God. I have never done this. I never will. I think you have to be careful. Can't you get like salmonella or something like that with raw eggs? Maybe, I don't know. Is there some kind of, I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking of something else. But yeah, just I mean, I love eggs. Scrambled eggs, egg bacon sausage. Muffins, Burger King, McDonald's, whatever. I mean, pet forever says I have a burger. But I love that stuff, but just the drink. Oh man, I couldn't do that. And then just the egg yolk on your fucking shirt. That stuff stains. It's not like water where it just doesn't. It stains. I guess for him it doesn't matter. So this is definitely when we're going to get more of the training. I mean, we definitely establish who Rotti is as a person, the love story with Adrian, the setup, the fight, bit of Mickey. So now we're going to get a bit more of the training bits. Also a nice choice to have this in Philadelphia. Wonder if it's this quiet at this point, like there's nobody on the road there. Like, is it this dead and quiet at this time in Philadelphia? Now, of course, you got the famous steps, which will be used many, many times throughout the movies and the years. Gonna fly now. We're not there yet. We see him huffing and puffing and realizing they ain't gonna work. I mean, yeah, Rotti, Rotti Balboa, Rotti, I know they had the Rotti statue, Rotti 3. I don't know where that statue is now. Because I heard one point it was there, then it was taken down, then I don't know if Stallone has it or someone else got the statue. Which is crazy. Like, why would he take that down? I mean, didn't Detroit put up a Robocop statue? If Detroit didn't have a Robocop statue, how the fuck can Philadelphia not keep a fucking Rotti statue there? Like, come on. Of course, punching the meat. Which a lot of, no, I mean, from time to time, this would get parodied on stuff. Even in that crappy film Grudge Match. No, no, don't punch the meat. We're supposed to just buy some. Don't need to punch it. Grudge Match was a terrible film. Terrible. Because it tried to, it was pretty much, hey, remember Rocky? Remember Raging Bull? What if the two of them went at it? Since they're so old, we make it a comedy. And then we put like Kevin Hart for some reason in there, Frank Grillo, other people, and Robert De Niro. There's like a fart joke with him in it, and Stallone. Hey, they're old. They're trying to do motion capture for a video game. Look how ridiculous and old they are. Don't you see how old they are? You're too old. You're too fucking old. Back up. See, I love like Paulie is really tough at this. Then he sees Rocky and then look at his face. There's like a little bit, there's like, yeah, that could be me. Especially there with the hat. That's the one I'm thinking of. Like, this is a guy you don't want to get mad. You know, he has this nice facade, demeanor, but don't push it. Give you a war you won't believe. Oh, different character. Wrong character. Like, don't push it, man. Don't push it. And sorry that there's silences sometimes with these commentaries. Just sometimes I just don't know what to say. I mean, I guess, there's been a lot of boxing movies since this film came out. I mean, there were boxing movies before it, The Champ being one of them. Take a look. Okay, just look at my time here. I mean, a lot of different kinds of boxing stuff. There was Digstown with Louis Gossett Jr. and James Woods. There was Southpaw with Jake Gyllenhaal. There was... Was it? I always did this. Bleed for This? Bleed for Me? Or something like that. I always forget what the hell it was called. The problem is when you do something like that, a lot of times you don't get compared to Rocky because Rocky just made that so memorable and such a big part of pop culture. Trying to remember if it was this one or the sequel where it's like, come on, Mickey, I want to use my other arm. Do it, I'll tear it off. I can't remember if it was this one or Rocky 2 where he does that. Wait, did I use my other arm? Do it, I'll tear you off. I'll tear it off. Women waiting. Even Burgess Meredith's character, now whenever you think about the fight man, the manager and the way he talks to his fighter, you think of it as Mickey's persona. Get up, you son of a bitch! Just Mickey loves you. Like, it's easy to draw your mind to that because he made it such a iconic role, iconic franchise. Again, this is what kills me, that it doesn't have a good release of feature, like, for these sequels. I don't understand it. I don't get it. But it is what it is. But yeah, I believe this is his real dog. Which, I mean, I don't know how long the dog... I mean, obviously it's passed away now because, dogs do live shorter, of course. But yeah, I don't know how... I guess the only thing Rocky I could think of is video game wise. There were a couple video games. There was one that the angry video game nerd talked about. Was it Sega Master System or something? And then there was Rocky for... Well, there was two Rocky games for PlayStation 2 and other platforms or systems. Was it Rocky and Rocky Legends? I forget which... Maybe Rocky Legends? I know one of them was a bit better because he had a bit more characters. I remember it being a bit tough to handle. Like, I had the game. I couldn't get far because I didn't really understand the mechanics on how to do the fights well enough to get further in. One thing I remember liking is that I think if you're doing very well or something, the music like rises up like a movie. I remember that being an interesting bit of business, but other than that, I don't know. Maybe it's a game I'd have to try again. Man, look at that spiffy fur coat she has. Very spiffy. Here you have Carl Weathers' character just thinking about the details of the success, the finances, the business, kind of like what Rocky did in Rocky 3 before Clubber Lane. Apollo's not training as intense. He's not worried about the fight. Just like Rocky 3, Rocky's, with the magazines and I guess he can do commercials at that point. He turned in Rocky 2. I guess he learned lessons. And now, just enjoying the fame. He lost his edge and lost just like here. I mean, he didn't lose, but he was definitely embarrassed. Which I love that in Rocky 2. The fight was fixed. You're a fate. And all that other stuff. How many people just said the fight was fixed? All the letters he got in Rocky 2. No, Christmas season, so this is, I mean, you wouldn't call it a holiday film, but the holidays are interested in this. Are involved in this. We got about 33 minutes left of the film. I mean, we have the big fight at the end. We have the final bits of training. We have kind of the moment before him in bed. I want to go the distance. In the rain by himself, talking with the guy. Hey, the drawing is wrong. So this is when Paulie's going to get pissed and throw shit. It was funny enough. I just noticed this is a gift someone sent to me a long while ago. Very nice. Because I don't collect Funko Pops, but this is Rocky Balboa. Right there. I mean, nice gift. I don't collect these, but I mean, it's still nice of him. Pretty cool. Sorry, I just itching my nose. Sorry about that. And here's the moment. Finally, Adrian has had enough. Showing backbone, showing spirit. She's not going to take any shit anymore. Shows how much she's changed and stand up for herself. At this point, just have her move in with you. That would make more sense. Maybe actually that might be what happens. Yeah, there must have been Rocky 2 where... Let me use my other arm. Do it, I'll tear it off. I don't know why that would always stuck out. And in a way, this created its own. I mean, there were movies like this before, but the underdog, the million to one shot, not just in boxing but other sports. Now, I mean, how many movies came out since then that they go, it's like Rocky, even Karate Kid. People says it's like Rocky. I mean, they said it because John G. Alvinson directed it, but still. But I'm glad Stallone is having success with the Tulsa King TV show. I've seen a couple episodes of season one. That's what I was requested, and liked what I saw. So one day I have to see the rest. Here we get more the Bill Conti music. Ba-doo-doo, doo-doo-doo, doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Dun, 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 dun. Again, such great, perfect music to have there. Bill Conti, Bill Conti did such a great job on that score, man. Iconic. And I love the training montages. I love them in each one of these movies. Again, the only one they didn't have was Rocky Five, which is my least favorite of the six. First six. Yeah. Well, there's only six Rocky films. I don't consider Creed. Rocky's in them, I don't consider them Rocky films. But yeah, the first six, Rocky 5 doesn't have. I mean, there's one with Tommy, but not really with Rocky. Getting stronger. Oh, you can't do that anymore. Apparently, if you do this, you're white supremacist or whatever. If you do the OK symbol. So I guess Axel Foley, when he did that in Beverly Hills Cop, I guess he's white supremacist as well. So ridiculous with the fucking times we live in. God, look at that speed. Yeah, because in the second film, it's with the all the kids. And then I think the next time was in Rocky 5, where him and his son go up here at the end. And then Rocky Balboa, him and his dog. And then is that, you see other people doing it at the end of Rocky Balboa. I think in retrospect, they probably would have had that end on a freeze frame. Yeah, freeze frame, then push in, then fade out. At least that's how they would do it in other films later on. Or maybe that's how Stallone would do it. But I mean, you had the freeze frame at the end, so. I think this is where he goes to the ring, and this is where he. Yeah, this is where he tells them they got the trunks rolling. But I mean, yeah, you take a mistake and you use it for your purposes, and it becomes a little memorable moment. Yes, he has like red trunks, but he doesn't. He has white trunks. Because again, I guess originally it was supposed to be red trunks, but then they changed it. Doesn't really matter, does it? Again, just no respect. Just another nail in that disrespect coffin. Moment of reflection before the big day. I mean, was I never, to be honest, I never really got into boxing, like actual boxing. Never watched a boxing match growing up. I mean, I know a lot of people found it with HBO and stuff, but we, as in my family and I, we didn't have HBO growing up. Where we lived on a farm in the middle of nowhere in Iowa, and we only had four channels: ABC, PBS, and two forms of CBS, and that was it. So there was no way to see Fox, HBO. If I was able to see some, it's because my aunt would tape stuff where she was at and send us tapes. So that's how I was able to see some stuff from Nickelodeon or Fox, like X Files or other stuff. Some movies, kids' movies. But yeah, there's no way to see that stuff. So I didn't grow with it. And I don't know, to me, it's like if I want to watch boxing, I'll just watch the Rocky films or something. But I mean, of course, I knew Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield, other folks, and you just see, of course, stuff on YouTube and stuff, the clips and. There was one boxing match that I did get requested that I watched and reacted to on the channel. I did quite. What was it? Which I thought was really cool. I thought it was really cool. It was a different type of request. Yeah, Wilder versus Fury 1, boxing on Showtime, December 1st, 2018. So yeah, that was the reaction. And I couldn't show the footage because your YouTube would have blocked it. But yeah, I thought that was pretty good. That was I even put it one hell of a fight. Wilder versus Fury 1, December 1st, 2018. That was from a guy named Ryan requested that. So I thought that was very cool. I thought that was very different, very unique, and a nice change of pace. So I quite liked that. So I've seen that one. This is where he tells about he doesn't think he'll win. He just wants to go the distance at the very least. At least if I'm standing there, I'm not a nobody. He just doesn't want to be a nobody. He wants to be a somebody. You know. Can't blame him, I wonder what's the purpose of the nasal stuff? Like the nasal stuff. I wonder what the purpose. I guess just to. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the purpose is of the nasal stuff. I know they spent just a lot of time on this fight. Just a lot of time. And just the amount of work put into it. I know they both got injured doing this. But it worked out. And to be got even better with the editing and the sound effects, and especially in Rocky 2, 3, and 4. So well handled, those fights. I love the guy behind him just smoking a cigarette. Or is he smoking? Or is it just what the hell is in his mouth? It looks like a cigarette, but I'm not seeing smoke. Yeah, I think it is a cigarette. I think. I don't know what the hell that guy has in his mouth. And I'm just like, what the fuck? What the fuck does that guy have? This is a big part of the show. George Washington. That's what it was about. It was about the show. Just say that Americana patriotic show for Rocky 4 with Living in America. Of course, that's not in this one. But again, that was to repeat. That's what was so cool about Rocky 3 is that you had a lot more cold weathers because it's the two of them working together and training together, and much more of that bonding with each other, and even the bit at the end. What favor? Yeah, this guy just had like a piece of paper straw in his mouth. It looks, yeah, it's I kept thinking it was this. No, this guy by Rocky just some piece of paper. I don't know what the hell it is. So I wonder, like, this actor was this actor around when Rocky 2 was made, or had he passed away? 'Cause it seems like he would be somehow involved in Rocky 2. I didn't know, he might have passed away by then. Okay, that definitely looked like stock footage or something, because I could see like a difference in the. Yeah, that I'm guessing that was stock footage. Did you tell like the video quality was a bit different? Because you have the other actors, it's only like a couple of them here, a couple of them there, and this is why the lights are dim to show that we don't have much of a crowd. So that yeah, that's why the background is dim. But yeah, that shot of showing the crowd, yeah, that was definitely stock footage. Yeah, you tell like the video quality, bit more different, old school. Each time it shows those, I could tell. That's the problem when you have things more and more and more HD. is that the flaws come out a bit more, stick out a bit more. In other movies, it may be, oh, you see a wire more, or this prosthetic is not as good as, it wanted it to be, or, you know. And that's the problem with going more and more HD. Some of the flaws are shown a bit more brighter. I mean, it is what it is. I tell you, I'm so annoyed by this one guy who just has this fucking piece of paper in his mouth. I'm wondering what the fuck it is. Like, why does he have just a piece of paper in his mouth? Is cigarette? Didn't I just see a smoke blow? I swear that if so, that's the first smoke I saw. And would you just have a cigarette just in the boxing ring to blow in everybody's faces? I don't fucking know. I give up on that guy. Dean, Dean. Now, of course, I know Rocky doesn't do that well at first. Knocked him down a few times, and Apollo's got the speed. He's got the. What's the word I'm looking for? He's done this before. At least on this big of a stage. I think he gets knocked down a few times. I believe Rocky does. Oh, nope, there you go. See, there you go. That shows how little I remember. I guess just like Chuck Wepner, my guy knocked down Ali one time. I forgot it was that early on. I thought it was a bit later in the fight. Okay, now Apollo's going to get his in. Because now he feels embarrassed. Yep, right in the corner. See, that's the thing, though. Oh, he's getting some punches in there in the ribs. What are you doing? What are you doing? I mean, that's the tough thing with doing this is that you have to do them close enough to seem like you've been hit, but then you don't truly want to beat each other's brains out. So, like, if the rest of the take is going well, but then one kind of whiffs it a bit, and you could see. Sometimes it'd be like, okay, we'll go along with it because the rest of the take worked well. And yeah, I think at this time you're thinking, okay, people don't see it on a movie theater screen, and they're not going to see it on their computer where it's HDDD quality, and you can slow it down, and it's this close to your face, and all that stuff. But I mean, I love the way films were shot back then on actual film. It's as dumb as it sounds. It just looks more real. Feels more real than digital. Just has certain quality to them, and the color. There's no stupid filters on there. The lighting. There's exceptions with movies, but the lighting is what they had on that day. Ooh. Nice left. Ooh. Ooh, right in the... Ooh. Damn. Two. Maybe I'm thinking... Maybe I keep thinking Rocky 2. Maybe that's the thing, like, I'm keep thinking about the Rocky 2 fight, because that's the one I watched more, Rocky 2, 3, and 4. I watched those more. So maybe I'm getting Rocky 2's fight with Rocky 1's fight. So maybe that's the case. Apollo, yeah, he's getting some punches in now. Oh, Rocky's getting back. Now, anytime I see these, I always think one of the things I think of is Bill Conti's Conquest. Dun 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 bow dun 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 dun. That guy's called Conquest. Bill Conti. If you look up on YouTube. Boom, bada boom, bada boom. Dun 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 dun. Ooh. I think we're getting to the Cutby bit Cutby scene. Yeah, because he gets back up and he's like, no, I got it, I got it. And then he'll sit down, Cutby bit Cutby. Which I remember that being just, ooh, viscerally. And Apollo's like, I can't believe this shit. I can't keep this guy down. I can't believe this shit. Boom. Dun, 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 dun. Because I remember this was at the beginning of Rocky 2. Because at the beginning of Rocky 2, they show a little bit of this fight, which is him being knocked down, him doing that to the gut. But they don't show us much of the Cutby. Like it's much more brutal here than you didn't see as much of this in Rocky 2. This bit here, oh, that blood spray. You didn't see as much of that blood because I saw Rocky 2 so many times, and then when I saw it, ooh, God, that looks even gnarlier. Who the fuck does this guy talk to Rocky? Who the fuck was him? I don't remember who the fuck that guy was. I might have seen him before, but I don't remember who the hell he was. Hell, I forgot how good this fight was. I think they're all good. I mean, even Rocky 5, like I said, I'm not big on the movie, but I like the fight. Hey, Rocky Balboa, I like. Again, I know why they did it, but I don't like that the guy broke his hand. And it's like, well, we have to give Rocky's character some kind of thing to... Ooh, good heavy haymakers in the gut. Ooh, there you go. Ooh, again. And here's the thing, if he had 30 more seconds, he would have won. I think that's the idea. If he had 30 more seconds on that bell, he more than likely would have won the fight. Yeah, he lost the fight points wise, but what matters is he went the distance and Adrian. That's what I liked about this. Adrian is what matters the most. This is the focal point is he did go the distance, but Adrian. I like that it stuck with that. It didn't forget that. It works for this movie very well. Where's your hat? Yeah, technically Apollo wins. No, no rematch. And so yeah, just can you give 5 fucking minutes to relax? Where's your hat? This freeze frame is beautiful, and the music rising up. I still tear up from that, man. I tear up because that's movie magic, man. I'm literally if you can't see it, but I literally have goosebumps. I literally have goosebumps because I believe that like it went longer, but the genius of realizing no, it's the high point. If you go further, it goes down. Leave it at the high point. And what a way to go out. You leave it at the high point. People like, yes. And then there you go. You ride that high out of the theater, back home. Feel good. You feel good. That Lloyd Kaufman. Yes, that is the Lloyd Kaufman of Trauma, pre-production supervisor. The Lloyd Kaufman, who would later create Trauma, the Toxic Avenger, all that stuff. But yeah, he was doing jobs like that before. But again, that is the Lloyd Kaufman. So that's such a great ending. Great movie. Great movie, man. It was a privilege and a pleasure to watch this again. Just movie magic. Great love story. Beautiful music. The train montage. The fight scene at the end. Look at that cast. Such a talented cast. Stallone, Talia Shire, Burt Young, Carl Weathers, Burgess Meredith. Walt came back for the second film. And the third film. And then whoever... Oh, Lord Carmen was in the film as a drunk. Okay. I missed him. Yeah, Joe Frazier. Joe Frazier. Buck Stallone. It's funny that he got his own. But there you go. That's Rocky. Again, just a nice piece of movie magic. Rest in peace to John G. Avildsen and Joe Spinell, Burgess Meredith, Carl Weathers, Tony Burton. Rest in peace to them. But thanks for giving us such a great franchise of movies. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye for now.